I'm very aware that recently I've been sounding like a scratched record. Every video I've posted has been on the same topic, and after this one I'll move on to something different. But today, once again, we'll have a look at some of the more extreme disciples who worship at the Church of Gender ideology. But let's begin with Biology 101. We all know if you're born male, you'll never have a period.
Hey y'all, do trans girls get periods? They definitely do. And so specifically, those of us who have been on hormones for a while, 100% get periods. This was suggested by someone who commented that I bring this up. For me, it didn't really kick in probably until about 6 months into starting hormones. But for me, it's usually about 5 days. The first couple of days, I have really bad PMS, and then it leans into feeling kind of like bloated and icky in my body. The cliche stuff of like wanting chocolate, like it's my job. And I have found that I track it. I line up with my wife, which is kind of helpful. And it's really helpful because oftentimes my thinking is really negative, and I deal with a lot of dysphoria during this period of time. And so I just wanted to pop on here and say that that is definitely a thing.
Sir, you do not have a uterus, therefore you don't have anything that needs to shed its lining once per lunar cycle. Once again, this is a trans woman being a caricature, a vile mockery of actual women. But he says he's synced up with his wife. That's someone I genuinely feel sorry for. So he's craving chocolate like it's his job. I'm assuming that's the only job he has, because who would employ that thing? I'm also guessing his wife is craving something a bit more potent. Maybe she's having whiskey put into her bloodstream on a drip. Either that, or maybe she's just shagging the milkman. That's a bit of a stereotype. If you're watching the USA, do you have milkmen over there? That being said, we haven't really had milkmen in this country since the late 1980s. Anyway, that gentleman, the cramps he's getting are probably a side effect from the estrogen he's taking, or it's just psychosomatic. It's all in his head. Sir, you are not on your period. You do not have the painters in, Liverpool are not playing at home, you are not closed for maintenance. Next we have another trans woman behaving in the way I assume she thinks actual women behave. An odd thing though is, if you see a video made by an extremist group, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, whatever, they always have their flag up in the background. Why do so many trans women do the same thing?
Okay. So this dress has literally been teasing the out of me for the last 3 months at Walmart, just staring at me, just like, you know you want it. And I finally caved. So I want to do something I've never done on this app before. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put this on without even seeing myself in the mirror. And this is going to be an actual blind reaction to how I look in this. So let's go do it. Okay, I just put it on. I have not seen anything. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it so much. Oh my God. Oh, it was on discount enough, so I'm like, I'm getting it. And it was worth it. Oh my God. I'll see you later, guys.
So the dress had been staring at him for 3 months. As long as it's not talking, mate, that's okay. But on the flag it said, I will not censor myself to comfort your ignorance. I guarantee he's the type of trans woman who will go into a woman's restroom and not give a flying fuck that it might make actual females feel uncomfortable. Which I would argue is a type of willful ignorance. I'd also argue that a confused man in a dress isn't in a position to lecture anyone on being ignorant. That being said, I do feel sorry for him, because he's put that dress on and he's seeing something the rest of us don't. He's seeing a beautiful woman rather than an ugly fat bloke in a dress. Albeit one carrying out an experiment to test the breaking strain of satin. I've said many times before that I think many trans women know less about actual women than the average man in the street. If you've seen that LARPing weirdo Dylan Mulvaney, no woman behaves like that. But I guess being a trans woman, it's about dresses and makeup and wigs. It's reducing femininity down to nothing but a fucking costume. Whereas I know I'll never know what it's like to actually be female. But now it transpires that some trans men also don't know what men really do. Yes, that's totally normal male behaviour. Whenever a group of men get together, we all take our shirts off and start grinding our chests together. Actually, there are some men who do that, but they tend to have their own clubs. But I tend to have more sympathy for trans men because often these are young women who've been misdiagnosed as being trans when actually they're just autistic. They look happy, so good for them. But what I'm seeing is a group of people dancing going, yay, we've had unnecessary surgery. It's irreversible. We fucked our immune systems and we still haven't fixed the underlying mental health problems. Finally, we'll see someone who's gender fluid. And because they're gender fluid, they're trying to explain her, his, its experience.
I want to try to define my gender, but it's really hard in 60 seconds, so I'm going to talk really fast. I'm gender fluid, and here's how that works for me. Most of the time, I'm one of two, modes or mindsets. Most of the time, I am this weird amalgamation of, genders and vibes and essence and just being that I literally cannot define. I don't know. You're just going to have to take my word for it. It's like the universe. It's ever flowing. There's sparkles, and it's just it changes over time and it moves through each other, and it's never one thing. And then other majority of the time I'm just a void. There's nothing there. There's just an absence, and I don't know how else to describe it. So either everything or nothing. Those are the two that I'm usually in. But then every once in a while, and I don't know where it comes from, but I'll just be thrust back into a binary. I'll just be sitting there chilling, enjoying my life, and then all of a sudden I'm a man? Who asked? Or a woman? Since when? I want to try to define...
How to define gender in 60 seconds? Will take longer then, love. That being said, we should be grateful for small mercies because we can all see it's a woman. Like so many people who buy into hardline gender ideology, she's fucking hideous to look at. She says most of the time it's a weird amalgamation of genders and vibes. Yes, I bet she's used to vibes, them ones. And I say that because it would take a much braver man than me to fuck that thing. And that's based just on her looks alone. That's before we get to her personality, or lack thereof. Genders, vibes and essences like the universe. The fucking universe. If she was any more up herself, she'd turn inside out. And she continued the other majority of the time. The other majority. Love, you can't have two majorities. That is very, very basic mathematics. But the other majority of the time, she's just a void. That sounds like someone with a very serious problem. That's just a guess. But to me, it doesn't feel very healthy to have someone who possibly has a very severe mental health problem that they're covering up with the fantasy of being gender fluid. It's impossible for human beings to change gender. And then she's thrust back into the binary. All of a sudden, I'm a man. That's the one thing she'll never be. She isn't a man, she's a narcissistic attention seeker, devoid of personality, desperately trying to appear interesting. And she finishes, oh, now I'm a woman? Since when? Since you were fucking conceived! Anyway, that's the end of this video. The next one will be on something different because seriously, this stuff's starting to get to me. As ever, thanks for watching. I'm aware that I'm starting to sound... Oh, bollocks! Surely it cut... How is anyone made to... fuck that up? We'll switch off, you prick. The crows have joined in. So next up we have a trans woman. It never ceases to amaze me that I can't remember what I wrote down.